I am often asked why ours is so expensive. Hi-fi equipment, amplifiers, receivers, speakers cost a lot of money. But under this fabric, friends, lies something that will make most vintage enthusiasts simply burn with excitement. The fifth point, because it's mega inexpensive and very cool, friends. So let's see what's there. There, it burned quite intensely, friends, as you can see. But what can you do? That's life. What is this? What? Ooh. The Russians have prepared for us. Ta-da! Look, a box with a Premiere. This is the second version. You remember we did a review on the first one, the A3C. And this is the intermediate one. Let's take a look together at how it was packaged to see what we have inside. We'll dive inside, of course, and look at its design from all angles. And most importantly, we'll compare it right in the packaging. With the first, and third models. Friends, the standard packaging, of course, I would like here. To see, instead of cellophane, some kind of cloth, or better yet, a velvet fabric, like in some high-end NT. Amplifiers would add a touch of elegance, although for the price, it costs. Namely, by the way, friends, I draw your attention to how the manufacturer, thinking about people, didn't set that silly number, 59.90. They really try to lower the price as much as possible and give you a good product at a minimal cost. That's why the number is 58,800. I tip my hat, friends. What do we have? Power cable. Notice that it's a standard one with this so-called Shuko format for our socket. If you were buying something like, heaven forbid, Cambridge or, I don't know, Denon, then there would also be a plug for England, for Japan, which we don't need. Friends, we are in Russia, so we have the standard 230. Volts. Let's immediately take a look at the remote control. It looks very similar to the products, and in this style, kind of metallic, but in fact it's plastic, friends. Now, carefully, I'll open it like this and we'll take a look together. The ergonomics are fine, meaning there's this kind of remote with a round button. Here's another one. You can press play or pause, volume, and what do we have here? Track switching. You can also choose CD, tape, phono. In general, it's universal for all three models. Is this bad or good? Rather, it's good because, for example, if you have some kind of lower-end model, you put it in the garage, and the higher-end one, for example, in the kitchen or in the bedroom, or, I don't know, integrate it into home theaters. You'll have one remote for everything, and it's very convenient. For example, whenever I set up home theaters or furnish homes, you know you can reach out to me. I've been doing this for over 12 years. I always try to use one model of TVs, or if there are several projectors, then the same model as well. Models, because it's always convenient and simple for clients. So if anything, feel free to contact me. We'll offer the lowest prices, select, connect, install, and configure everything. Here is the Premiere of the A2. Look at how great it looks. First of all, what immediately catches the eye are, of course, the arrows, which in size are somewhat similar to the model AKU Face or Audiophile E280, which costs exactly 10 times more, friends. But here, in our Premiere, we have the same thing with the arrows, but, of course, with less power, less, let's say, of that Japanese gloss, but the price is also about 10 times less. And there's much more of everything overall, if we think about it, because here we have Bluetooth, there's a phono preamp, and there's HDMI, friends. And by the way, the phono preamp is not just MM, but also MC. So all of this for 58,000 rubles. The front panel is made of metal, and it's quite thick as well. The volume knob, two Premiere labels, as we can see here and here. I already mentioned in the video about the A3 that this is a bit excessive. Over time, I think the manufacturer will definitely remove this label and leave only the central part where it says Premiere, and it will light up now. Let's turn it on now. By the way, the cable is ordinary, friends, not Kimber, for example. And I always say that you need to connect cool, high-quality hi-fi cables. Why? Yes, it's simple. You say that there are kilometers, I would even say tens of kilometers, of ordinary copper wire leading to the outlet. Yes, that's true. But friends, when you connect the final segment with a proper cable, not just a black one, but, for example, a truly high-quality Kimber, Do you know what it does? It filters the signal. It's the same principle as with tap water. You understand that to your apartments. There are also tens of kilometers of unclear, dirty, rusty pipes as a rule. And so, you drink tap water, well, if there's a filter. And why is that? It's because of this final purification filter. It's the same here, friends. More precisely, there's no filter here, but it's needed. So binaural quality cables, they really do make the sound better. Yes, it will. Power, friends. But it won't, because I forgot to press the button at the back. There's a fuse. This is another plus for the company's piggy bank. You see the red button lit up, very stylish, by the way. Our power button is metallic. Press it, and there they are, the arrows. And do you know what's the advantage, friends? These arrows are backlit by a bulb right here and here, under each arrow. And our developers from the Premiere, look at what they did. They somehow, probably magically, filled the entire screen with white. And these arrows really look different, more expensive. In general, a few words about the design. In the comments, they wrote to me again about the A3. About the A1, like a Chinese design from AliExpress. Friends, let's be honest and straightforward. This is not a Chinese design at all. The design is very cool. Yes, there are drawbacks, like with these two Premiere inscriptions. I would also remove these master type inscriptions. And I would make these inscriptions in a, let's say, thinner font. But friends, if this is done by Premiere, then it will be something else entirely. The design is one of the best in its class, simply in the world. Because essentially no one else is doing anything like this. Maybe only AVM. Yes, they have such a direct European minimalist approach to appearance. And that's it. The other guys, they are stuck somewhere very far behind. I'm not talking about the likes of Dan or Agustin, where luxury just oozes from every corner. For this amount of money, at the moment, this is one of the best design solutions. Especially with these little arrows. So, please don't, as you remember, I talked about aliens when they drool their saliva and it corrodes everything. Here you go again, you appear. And the standard solution is to press the button twice. They light up accordingly, either white or accordingly red. And again, when you look at the volume, the scale appears smoothly here. So don't get confused. Don't turn on the speakers when the volume is on this button, or else, well, let's see what's at the back. First, we turn off the power for this. After all the relays have clicked off, we press the button. At the back, we take out the wire and look. And we see we have two pairs of terminals. Undoubtedly, it's a plus to have two pairs because you can always connect a second set of speakers. And of course, compare which ones sound better. There is also a second option for use. For example, you have speakers in another room as well. You can run a wire, or if it's already installed, also enjoy sound in both places. As a person born in the USSR, I look at this inscription and it undoubtedly warms my heart because it says, developed in Russia by JSC, MMS company. How long I have waited for us to start developing such things. And not at an exorbitant price, but really at a low market price. And now in front of me is a truly great integrated device. And the last thing I ask you to pay attention to are these wonderful switches at the back, which take us to some kind of high-end already. You see, for switching the phono preamp, you need to flip it like this, friends, just like here. Stop. Stop. The phono preamp is at the bottom and the switching. Between balanced or unbalanced is at the top, friends. Although if you look at it upside down, then I would actually be speaking correctly. And what else we have is, of course, the balance, friends. In such an amplifier for 50,000-60,000 rubles, balanced connection is provided. This is simply, as I would say, sex. So friends, let's see what's inside. There, most likely it will be a toroidal transformer. Let's open the lid. Yes, of course, it's not as massive as a vacuum, but definitely not 10 times worse, friends. And what we see is practically the same picture as from the Premiere, but one, of course, differs from the three. Here we have 50 watts at 8 ohms, slightly more than in the A1. At the same time, the sound is really better. I don't know how they achieved this. It seems like all the components are the same, but this system plays a bit more interestingly. The components here should all be audio grade. As you can see, we have no ribbon cables. Everything is done in the style of Bristol, meaning board to board. The heatsink is quite decent. No active cooling, no fans, no super expensive class A or B. Everything is done in our way, simply, reliably, seriously. Take note, 10,000 microfarads each, 2 capacitors totaling 20. And how much was in the 280? Let me remember. 30 and 30, I think 60, and here we have 20. Well, that's the difference. For those who love to DIY, please take a look. Maybe you can copy the schematic and create something similar in your garage or workshop. Although I'm not sure you'll manage to make it cheaper and better. However, you can argue with me in the comments, please. I'm always happy to engage with reasonable people. Well, let's wrap it up. And do you know what final point I'd like to make? We will now take the A1 Premiere, the A3 Premiere, and compare them, friends. Fortunately, our Droid store has all these devices available. How about a powerful, cool stack of 3 Premieres, starting with the A1, A2, A3. Right now, you're probably on the only channel where you can see them like this. Compare design to design, button to button. Which one do you like more? Of course, the A3 is the coolest. Huge cool dials. 100 watts per channel at 8 ohms. And a price of 100,000 rubles. Our hero today is the A2. The dials are smaller, Madin, but the price is almost half, around 60,000. Specifically 58,800 friends. And practically almost 60 watts. And here it's 51 watts, but the price is just a bargain, around 34,000. What's to choose from this, friends? I'll be honest, this one. I would place it in the living room. This one I would put in the bedroom, and this one I would place in the kitchen. And then you would have the coolest sound throughout the entire apartment or house. But as it is, there's not enough money. For the A3, please, you can be satisfied with the A2, which has a premium appearance and quite a cool sound. And this one, the guy is just a sure bet. Anywhere, anytime he will play, practically without heating up. By the way, about the A2. Now you see the thermal map? It's not that hot, not like the tone of a Wiener, the same one that plays in class. So there you go. To summarize, should you get this device? Well, it's in this sort of in-between world. It seems to be almost twice as cheap as the A3, but the functionality is roughly the same. As the character from Guy Ritchie's film Snatch said, in the usual translation, it's called Snatch. Clever Russians, those clever Russian marketers, I think they perfectly positioned it in terms of price. Yeah, neither more nor less. Add 10,000 more, and I definitely wouldn't recommend it, but as it is, go ahead. And finally, friends, let's turn it on and see how they look with these screens, displays, and arrows.